Hey guys, so you ready for today's January 23rd, 2019, 11:05 a.m. Central Time. I'm doing this video as a public video because I know Schumer, and I watch all these little Twitter accounts, but I know Schumer is going to say something ridiculous on his Twitter feed, including possibly uploading part of his speech that he did this morning on the Senate floor, which I watched, okay? And I'm going to tell you what he said verbatim, okay, in a minute. Because the government shutdown vote is what I'm calling it, is happening in the Senate tomorrow. There's going to be two amendments to be voted on. One amendment is what I call the Trump compromise, okay? It has border security funding in it for agents, the technology stuff, all the crap that the Democrats have already voted for and have passed in the House, okay? And in addition to, it has the, quote, wall funding, okay? And we're talking about them arguing over not the entire 2,000 miles of border, which people should already know this, but period. But people don't know, is this amount of, quote, wall that they're talking about is only adds up to 234 miles of our border. They are arguing over not 5.7, well, over $5.7 billion, which is 0.01% of the fiscal year budget of 2019. Okay, that's how small it is. But they're arguing over 234 miles of border. Now, this border shit has to do with the wall portion, has to do with certain areas of the border. A lot of it's in Texas. Parts of it's going to be fencing, part of it's going to be the steel slats you can see through, and part of it's going to be because all this stuff came from DHS and border agents' request. The other part has to do with barriers that will stop vehicles, that they're having a lot of trafficking for vehicles. So that's what they're arguing over. Now, the other amendment that I call the Democrat amendment, oh, and let me go back to the Trump compromise. It also funds all of the government that is shut down right now. Okay, the Treasury, which is part of the IRS, DHS, all the dozen or so whatever that are closed right now. It funds them all the way through fiscal year 2019, which is September 31st. Okay, now the Democrats amendment, what it does has no border security in it whatsoever. All it does is fund the government portion of the government that's shut down through fiscal year 2019, except for DHS. DHS is funded for 3 weeks. So that's their bargaining chip, okay? That they're going to reopen the government, except DHS. They're only going to have it open for 3 weeks, and they'll talk about the border shit during that time period. Okay, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amendment. I mean, Trump's compromise is beyond reasonable. I gotta tell you, beyond reasonable. He put in extensions for DACA for 3 years, all this other trash, and that's a lot of people don't agree with. But beside the point, this border wall argument was ridiculous to begin with, not passing the funding, considering they passed billions of dollars during the Obama administration for this border wall that is across this southern border, maintenance on the border wall and stuff that they've used funding for. Obviously, everybody's heard that, these Democrats have voted for the Fence Act or whatever it was during the Bush administration that started all of this wall to begin with. The only Democrat that's currently in the Senate that didn't vote for the Fence Act is Senator Durbin. So he's really the only senator in the Senate that can say, no, I didn't vote for this. I've never voted for this. I'm not going to vote for this. Everybody else has voted for it, okay? So those are the two amendments that they're voting on. Schumer's crazy talk proves that liberals are 100% wired differently than conservatives of all spectrums. It was crazy talk. Listen to this. I would never have even come up with this type of language that he used. And this is verbatim. Okay? Since he's going to put shit on his Twitter feed, why I'm doing this public. Because I guarantee he's gonna put this portion on his Twitter feed. He said, one amendment, you can figure out which amendment he's talking about. One amendment reopens the government and gives us 3 weeks to discuss border security. The other amendment enables Trump's temper tantrum and says if you don't vote for this, the government is going to stay shut down. That's what he said. Crazy talk, double talk. One amendment reopens the government, gives us 3 weeks to discuss border security. The other amendment enables Trump's temper tantrum and says, well, I'm going to keep the government shut down unless you vote for it. What? Are you kidding me? What kind of trash talk is that? Trump's amendment, if you want to call it that, if you vote for it, reopens the entire government through fiscal year 2019 and has a wall in it and border security. The other amendment reopens part of the government through fiscal year 2019, except for DHS, and gives them 3 weeks to discuss border security. That's what they do. I mean, facts. Those are the two facts. He talks about it enables Trump's temper tantrum. It doesn't enable anything. Okay? It includes what he's considering Trump's temper tantrum and then reopens the government. It's like, what kind of crazy talk is that? Liberal crazy talk. Ridiculous how he described those two amendments. One says, if you don't vote for it, I'm going to keep the government shut down. What? That's what it says? That's what it says. It's just crazy talk. So, beside the point, government shutdown vote tomorrow in the Senate, 2 different amendments. The likelihood of either one of them passing, because they need 60 vote threshold, is pretty slim. The Democrats' amendment ain't going to fly. The Republicans' amendment, it's a slim possibility that it could pass with some Democrats defecting, but I don't think so. I don't think there'll be enough. And even if it went to the House isn't gonna pass anyway. So I don't know how long this government shutdown is gonna last. But anyway, that's the 2 amendments: the Trump compromise and the crazy fucking Democrats' explanation of reopening the government. Anyway, this is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great morning.